Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 fat loss mistakes. First I'm going to introduce myself. I am head coach of Elite Experience. My name is Thom Lamb. I've been a personal trainer and now a fitness and lifestyle coach for over 10 years. I've had a lot of different training experiences, but over the last 5 years identified that most of my client base was going to be weight loss, specifically female weight loss. So I really started to focus in on that as a specialization in order to better serve my client base. And when I started to do that, I realized that not only the training techniques that we were going to use, but also the nutrition and then finally the behavioral side of it. So when I started to do that, we got a lot of information about how to properly lose fat, and we also identified a lot of mistakes, and that was what led to this seminar. So the top 10, without any further ado, the top 10 fat loss mistakes are cardiovascular exercise, skipping weightlifting because you don't want bulky muscles. Number 3 is gym buddies. Number 4 is trying to reduce portions but eating exactly the same foods. Number 5 is soon ripe, soon rotten, which just means wanting something really quickly, but then because it comes into fruition fairly quickly, it usually fades just as fast. Doing cleanses. Avoiding fats because you think fats will make you fat. The next one would be boot camps. Then trying to chase 2 rabbits at the same time is number 9. And 10, getting your information off of TV or the corporate media. So let's get right into it. Jackie, try to keep it at 2 minutes per point. Okay, if that's at all possible. First one, number 1 mistake that people make when they want to lose fat is they start to do cardio because they believe that by doing cardiovascular exercise they will burn extra calories, right? And those calories burned per day will result in a caloric deficit overall, and hopefully that caloric deficit will result in fat being burned. Unfortunately, that would work if you were a machine, but you're actually a much more complicated biological organism with many checks and balances, and the body almost immediately when it senses a caloric deficit does one thing: it reduces your metabolism, it slows your metabolism down. There's a number of ways that it does this, but suffice it to say that if the only type of exercise, and this is really common, the most common approach to fat loss or weight loss is join the gym, go on the elliptical 3 times a week for 30 minutes to an hour, watch your favorite show, and then leave. Okay, so there's several problems with that. One is that you're using just a machine, and you're not really engaged in the exercise process in any way. 2, because it's the same range of motion over and over and over again, you're not promoting any greater range of motion or functionality of your muscles, okay? If you're doing that same elliptical pattern over and over again 10,000 times every single time you work out, you're literally training your body and your brain to be less flexible and to be weaker, because it's going to start to turn off the fast twitch fibers and turn on the slow twitch fibers, and suffice it to say that just means that your body becomes very efficient. But unfortunately, that means that it burns less calories per day at rest. So after about 3 to 4 weeks, your body will figure this out. You'll cease to lose weight. You'll get frustrated because the other problem is that standing under fluorescent lights, interfacing with the machine while you're staring at a screen that's pumping you full of electromagnetic radiation is an inherently stressful thing to do. And there's no endorphins being released because there's no proprioception going on. So you end up getting burnt out, not seeing any more results, and then stopping to go to the gym and paying for the next 48 weeks for something you're not using. That's why cardio doesn't work. What works great is weightlifting, but unfortunately mistake number 2 is people skip weightlifting because they think it'll give them big bulky muscles. Now, standing here as a 300-pound powerlifter, I'm probably not doing much to disabuse you of that notion. However, you have to understand that just as a carpenter would use a tool would use a hammer and a screwdriver and some nails and a saw to build you any structure that you can conceive of, be it a small shed or a huge building, ultimately. In the gym, there are going to be wonderful tools that a good coach can use to build any physique that he wants. And there's not going to be any distinction between the tools that I'd use to build, a very healthy, fit, strong person with great endurance and very, very lean, toned body, and a big, powerful, say, football player or power lifter. The difference is simply in how I use those tools. The other nice thing is that no female is going to be capable of building big, bulky muscle because they need testosterone to do that, and they don't have any. Testosterone is a male sex hormone. It's very, very rarely, there's just not the required concentration of testosterone in a female body, if any at all, in most points, for them to build muscle. They'll build muscle, they just won't build an excessive amount of muscle. Okay? You know this because if you look at the physiques of female bodybuilders, there'll be an X factor there, namely, chemicals. And that's literally the limiter for them. Okay? So, as one of my coaches, Jacqueline here, can attest, it takes a tremendous amount of effort to build muscle on a female frame. And the nice thing about that is that when it happens, it's usually extremely shapely and it looks very feminine. It doesn't look bulky at all. One of the best trainers in the world, Alan Cosgrove, says if you train women like men, they look like goddesses. And that's the truth. Okay. So, avoiding weightlifting, because the other reason that women tend to avoid weightlifting really is because that section of the gym is full of big sweaty guys that are grunting and groaning and trying to bend bars and doing their hair and flexing their biceps, and so it's a little bit of an intimidating environment for them, whereas the cardio equipment's right near the door. It's very accessible. There's one button you got to know how to press and then you're good. So, but because that learning curve is an impediment to many people, they never really get the results, and as I discussed earlier, they end up leaving in about 3 to 4 weeks. One of the best things you can do, one of the best investments you can make if you really want to see a great weight loss is to invest in someone who literally is a carpenter and knows how to use those tools and can show you how to use them for yourself.